Hey, what's up YouTube? Pallab here from nothingwire.com, and today we're talking about the new Nikon 24 to 70 F2.8 VR. This is the newer lens with VR facility, which is vibration reduction, Nikon's own word for the image stabilization option on a lens. The older 24 to 70 F2.8, which is by the way very popular lens still and part of Nikon's holy trinity of lenses, does not have the VR feature. Now that was out way back in 2007, and it was just about time Nikon came out with a newer version of those. They incorporated VR mainly because some of the other competitors are bringing in VR in almost all the focal ranges possible, even in wide angle lenses. This newer one, cost $2,400 as compared to $1,800 of the older one. By the way, you'll get the older one for much cheaper online as well because it's out for so long. If we talk about India, in India, I saw Nikon India official site. The price listed for the newer one is just under 1,70,000. You might get it for a little cheaper in your local market or maybe even online. Although Nikon does not recommend that you buy its gadgets from online. But anyway, so I found the older one priced at just under 1,07,000 on Snapdeal.com. Now imagine that's a huge difference in price. In this particular video, we're gonna see whether this particular one, the newer one, the VR one, actually deserves that kind of premium you should pay for. Maybe it's better build quality plus mainly VR and also possibly a sharper image quality, or you just do just fine with the older one mainly because the budget sake, or probably you do just fine with even the third-party lenses like Tamron and Sigma. Both have their own 24 to 70, and each of them cost actually much less than even the older one. So in this video, let's go ahead and check out that. First thing first, the newer lens is definitely much heavier, longer and bigger than the older one, and that I understand mainly because Nikon had to incorporate the VR elements inside the lens that generally makes the lens that fatter. So the older one was I think 900 grams, this one is 1070 grams, so there's a significant gain in weight. That also means that you actually have a bigger filter thread size. This one, the newer one, has 82 mm filter thread size, and the older one had 77 mm filter thread size. Another thing contributing to this filter thread size is that the newer one now has more glass. It has 20 elements in 16 groups compared to the 15 elements in 11 groups of the older one. That means that your filters will be expensive, for one, because 82 mm is not as common as a 77 mm or 67 mm filter thread size. Another thing is that if you've been using the older 24 to 70 mm, and generally this range of lenses are of that 77 mm or 67 mm, even the prime, some of the prime, that kind of filter thread size, you'll have to throw away all those and buy totally new set of 82 mm filters, mainly because you cannot use an adapter because those filter sizes are small. If they were bigger, you could have used an adapter and used them on this one too, but the smaller filters have nowhere to go. Build quality wise, I actually do not see much different from the earlier one. They look almost the same, and I don't know if it has a better weather sealing than the older one. I like the hood though, it's much modern and it's nicely incorporated. You have two buttons mainly. One is the M and MA button. M is a total manual mode and MA is the auto mode with manual override. So even if you're on an auto mode, you can simply move the focus fine-tuned ring to fine-tune your focus, and it won't destroy the motor. The second button is new. It wasn't obviously on the older one. Is the VR button. There are three options that generally come in Nikon VR lenses: off, obviously, normal and active. Now active mode I recommend you generally use whenever you're, let's say, shooting from a moving car. Otherwise, for most of the situations, if you're hand holding this lens, I suggest you use the VR mode in normal, and please switch it off if you're using a stabilizer or tripod or anything like that, because if you switch on the VR, if you leave the VR switched on, the lens will automatically try to vibrate. It will try to see the vibration. So at that process, it vibrates itself a bit. Nano coating, it was in the earlier one too. One slightly shocking thing for me was that the earlier lens, earlier 24 to 70 had 3 ED lenses, extra dispersion lenses. This one has only 2 extra dispersion lenses. Apart from that, well, most of the things are pretty good. Great weather sealing, great body, all metal. This is gonna last you for years, just like the older one, and overall top quality lens. The focus is quite accurate most of the time and is very fast to lock on. The lens is expectedly very sharp at the center, but also was quite sharp towards the corner as well, something the older 24 to 70 mm struggled at times. We got nice round creamy bokeh that made the background separation very beautiful. The out of focus area is also rendered quite well. For obvious reasons, try the tele end of the lens if you want more bokeh, because generally it's hard to get bokeh or round bokeh at the wide end. The VR performance is great and definitely can influence your buying decision. At 70mm end, we tried at 80mm for sharp image, obviously, because the stop was above 70, and that's the rule of thumb. And then we went 4 stop down to 30, and you can see the difference when we did when we switched off the VR and then switched on it. You can see the difference in the stabilization. And then we went on to 15, and even at 5, and even at that shutter speed, the VR was constantly trying its best to stabilize the lens. Well, my not so extremely stable hands from smoking regularly might have made the VR's task really harder, but still. At 70mm 2.8, we see significant vignetting, which but clears off mostly at 4 and almost disappears at 8. Similar is the story at 24mm end, but I would say the wide end is slightly clearer at 2.8 wide open than the tele end. There are obvious barrel distortions at wide end and slight pin cushion distortion at tele end, but we also stretch the lens with our chart. In real world, barrel will be seen, but not much of pin cushion though. Videos are sharp end to end. The continuous autofocus is as terrible as ever thanks to the contrast detection system of the Nikon body. That the lens cannot help it much, by the way. But where it actually helped is that there is very less autofocus motor noise of the lens. That's something really cool. Now the focus throw is very good, and there was no problem rack focusing in manual mode. But remember to always use a stabilizer or at least a rig, because the lens is too heavy to operate handheld and record a steady video at the same time. So then guys, what do you think? Do you want the 24 to 70 f2.8 VR? It's a very complex and confusing question, mind you. Number one, if you have money, if you're really crazy about all the new tech that a gadget offers and want to buy them, and if you really want the sharpest lens possible from Nikon in the 24 to 70, definitely go for the 2.8 VR. It won't disappoint you. But if you're budget conscious, if you want your lens on a budget, the older 24 to 70 2.8 will do just fine, and there's a huge money difference, so I'll totally understand that. In fact, even you've been using, let's say, a third-party lenses alone, mainly because of the budget and or the value of money, value for money those lenses provide. Even the Tamron 24 to 70 f2.8 is a great lens, and I think it costs just under 70,000 in India. So that's a great value for money. So if you're budget conscious mainly and you do not need the VR feature in general, then you can use those two lenses as well. I would not recommend Sigma at this point. Sigma might be coming with a 24 to 70 arts lens, we don't know when, but for now 24 to 70 Nikon was the best, and then the Tamron 24 to 70 if you're budget conscious. But if you're not budget conscious, this lens will absolutely go ahead, but the price difference is huge. So for me personally, it is still gonna be the 24 to 70, the older one. But by the way, here's a side note. When we talk about me personally, and this is a very subjective opinion, you might differ. I personally do not like zoom lenses at this focal range. I love the primes, mainly because why is that at this focal range the compression does not happen much, so you do not get great background compression from the 70 mm, nor you get that effects that typically an ultra wide lens gives, that makes small space looks bigger at the 24 mm end. They both are wide and telephoto, but they come under the normal range only, and in this range you can just step back or step forward, because there's almost no difference in the compression. You can just step back and forward to adjust the focal length. So I like it that way. But for people who do not have time, let's say for the wedding photographers, for example, a 24-70 is a must, along with a 70-200, because the wedding moments and some of those moments do not wait for you. Need to have the zoom, because you won't have time to keep changing your prime lenses. So this is a subjective opinion, but if you at all decide to go for the zoom lenses, those are my recommendation that I previously mentioned. If you like this video, please hit the like button, ask anything related to this, and we'll try to answer them all. And please subscribe to our channel and share this video to share the love. Thank you.